Some celebrity rumors are so bizarre, so specific, and so vicious that you almost have to admire them. If you, like me, live for dissecting the most unhinged gossip the internet has to offer, do me a favor and subscribe to the Star Report. You're going to want to be here for this. Because today, we are diving into one of the most fascinating stories about Meghan Markle, the legend of her disastrous and awkward comeback at Paris Fashion Week. Now, while her team would probably say this never happened, the story of what went down in Paris is so detailed, so specific, and so catty, it's become a legend. So let's get into every last, jaw-dropping detail. The ghost in the tunnel. Let's start with the part of the Paris story that makes your skin crawl. During her trip to Europe, Meghan and Harry were reportedly seen driving through the Pont tunnel. Yes, that tunnel, the one where Harry's mother, Princess Diana, died in a horrific, world-changing crash. Now, you could argue it's just a major public road, a coincidence. But the awkwardness came from the PR spin. Anonymous sources immediately leaked to the press that Meghan somehow didn't know the significance of the tunnel. Really, Meghan? Really? You're telling me that this woman, whose team insists she is a brilliant, educated, media-savvy operator, had no idea that this specific, world-famous tunnel in Paris was where the single most defining tragedy of her husband's entire life occurred? It is, without a doubt, the most unbelievable excuse I have ever heard. It's "I didn't inhale" levels of ridiculous. It's especially awkward when you remember the claims from her own childhood friends, like Ninaki Pretty, who said Meghan was obsessed with Diana and the royal family, that she had Diana's biography, and that she wanted to be Diana 2.0. Her PR team was stuck between two awful narratives. They had to pick a story. Was she so ghoulishly aware of the location that she used it as a photo op? Or was she so bafflingly ignorant of the most basic, central fact of her husband's life story that it calls her intelligence and empathy into question? They chose the ignorant route. And honestly, I don't know which is worse. The hypocrisy of the highest order. This obsession with crafting a narrative, especially one tied to Diana, has a flip side: hypocrisy. We all watched the Oprah interview. The central theme, besides the bombshell accusations, was that the British press was cruel, dangerous, and obsessed, and that they were destroying Meghan, just like they destroyed Diana. She and Harry blamed the UK media relentlessly for exploiting his mother's tragedy. And then, they gave their history-making tell-all interview to CBS. So what? Here's what. In 2004, it was CBS, an American network, that became the first in the US to broadcast a graphic, post-crash photo of Princess Diana from that tunnel. It was part of a 48 hours investigative report. It showed her slumped in the car, being attended to by a doctor. The move caused a massive international scandal. It was so bad that even some British tabloids, who were not known for their taste, refused to run it. So, let's get this straight. You spend years crafting a narrative that the British press is the source of all evil, the ones who profited from Diana's death, and then you turn around and give the biggest, most profitable interview of your life? To the American network that actually broadcasted a photo of her dying? This is next-level awkward. It's a level of cognitive dissonance that is just staggering. It makes the entire media victim narrative feel incredibly hollow. It's not about ethics, it's about control. It's not "don't exploit my trauma." It's only I get to exploit my trauma, on my terms, with the network of my choice. The Phantom Fashion Show. This all sets the stage for her big comeback at the Balenciaga show in Paris. This was supposed to be the moment, her triumphant return to the A-list, proving the royals were the ones who lost. But the scene inside that building was, apparently, dead silent. The story goes that when she walked in, the entire vibe just died. The air allegedly froze. It paints this picture of her walking the carpet, chin up, acting like she owned the city, while not a single major fashion figure, no editors, no other celebs, would come near her. The photographers looked bored, taking their shots and immediately turning away. People kept their distance, literally, not wanting to be caught in her orbit. It's the ultimate high school cafeteria nightmare, just with more expensive shoes. It was this perfectly crafted narrative of a total social failure. It was the kind of public snub that's so blatant, it's almost a work of art. We've seen glimpses of this in real life, haven't we? That viral clip of Prince William diligently ignoring her at a royal event, seemingly fascinated by his own scarf. The endless footage of her on the palace balcony, trying to chat with family members who suddenly become very interested in staring at a flagpole. The public has seen her be iced out in real time so often that this story just fit. The backstage whispers. But the public cold shoulder was nothing compared to the talk behind the scenes. The whispers coming from the crew were even more intense. The story was that there was a sensory issue, that being in close proximity was unpleasant. We're talking claims about hygiene, an unfortunate personal space problem. This is, without a doubt, one of the most creatively mean-spirited stories I have ever heard. It's so personal and so impossible to disprove. It's designed to do one thing: strip away the glamour and replace it with junior high-level humiliation. It's a story designed to strip away the glamour, the poise, and the entire Duchess persona, and replace it with something just base. It's fascinating, and it's horrifying, but it's a symptom of a much larger and much more real awkwardness. The borrowed narrative. This brings us to the clothes. The talk didn't stop there. It went right to her wardrobe. The story was that this wasn't a collaboration, but a last-minute scramble. That the clothes weren't a gift, the mark of an A-lister, but merely on loan. To make it worse, there were whispers that the fit was off, suggesting there was no time for tailoring, which is the ultimate fashion diss. In the fashion world, borrowed means you're not important enough. It's a quiet, brutal message. You are not part of the circle. And just like the cold shoulder story, this one only works because it mirrors a real and very awkward fashion problem she has: an inability to read the room. We all just saw this on her trip to Nigeria. This was a quasi-official tour, representing her husband's Invictus Games in a country with complex social and economic challenges. And she rolled in, treating it like her own personal Met Gala. The price tag of her wardrobe for that 72-hour trip was reportedly over £120,000. She wore a 450-pound Joanna Ortiz dress just to visit a school. She wore a massive, bright yellow Carolina Herrera gown, a dress that screamed, "Look at me," just to meet the wives of military officials. This isn't about hating a woman for wearing nice clothes. It's about the awkwardness of the choice. It showed a baffling level of tone-deafness. It was less diplomacy and more runway show. It was the same awkward energy from her 2021 visit to a low-income school in Harlem, where she showed up wearing a designer outfit and jewelry worth more than the school's entire annual budget. The Balenciaga story paints a picture of fashion rejection, but the reality is that she invites real criticism by using fashion as a costume, and she keeps picking the wrong one for the part. The rebrand that never was. This is why the Paris story, even as just a story, is so perfect. Meghan's entire rebrand, post-royals, has been one long, awkward moment. It's been a series of chaotic, half-launched, and recycled ideas. From the Spotify podcast that got canceled after one season, to the Netflix documentaries that were panned for being all style and no substance. We heard the whispers that staff called her demanding without direction, which led to a flood of people quitting and earned her the nickname Duchess Difficult. And now we have the American Riviera, orchard lifestyle brand, which launched with a grainy video, sent out 50 jars of jam to her celebrity friends, and then just vanished. It all paints a picture of someone who is performing a rebrand. She's acting like a global humanitarian. She's playing a CEO. She's cosplaying as a domestic goddess. The Paris show was supposed to be her rebirth. Instead, it became her mirror. People saw through the performance, the forced smiles, the desperate symbolism, the empty glamour. The same woman who once captivated the world now looked like a shadow of her own illusion. The Paris story, in the end, is a perfect metaphor. It's a story about a woman showing up to a party she wasn't really invited to, wearing clothes that weren't really hers, trying to create a moment that wasn't really earned. She didn't need to go to Paris to have this awkward backstage moment. She's been having it, in public, for 5 years straight. The lights are on, the cameras are flashing, but the applause just isn't there. What do you think is the most awkward part of her rebrand? The jam? The Nigeria trip? Or the fact that she's still clinging to a narrative that just doesn't fit? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the Star Report for more hot celebrity tea.